They say that on the night of his birth, the desert winds whispered differently. The stars above Naini, the heart of old Mali, burned not white, but gold. The river murmured as if in prayer, and the old griots spoke in hushed awe. A child is born tonight, whose hands will weigh the earth in gold, whose journey will outshine the sun, whose name will echo from the sand dunes to the seas. His mother, Lady Sogolan, felt a tremor in her soul as she held the infant. The baby's skin gleamed deep bronze under the firelight, and when she looked into his eyes, she swore she saw both the sky and the earth staring back at her. They named him Musa Keita, of the royal Keita bloodline, heir to warriors and builders of empires. But the griot who recorded his birth added one final line in the royal scrolls. He shall be tested by the weight of his own greatness. Years passed like wind over dunes. Young Musa grew beneath the watchful eyes of tutors and elders. He studied under scholars from Timbuktu who filled his mind with wisdom of the stars and the Quran. Yet his heart belonged to the land, the hum of the market, the shimmer of the river at dusk, the steady thud of drums in the villages beyond the palace walls. Musa was not like other princes. While others basked in gold and luxury, he would sneak out to walk barefoot among the common people. He spoke with the blacksmiths, listened to hunters, tailees, and shared kola nuts with fishermen by the Niger. He understood something that many kings forgot, that the strength of a throne lies not in the gold beneath it, but in the hearts that uphold it. When the old king, Abu Bakr II, announced his fateful expedition across the Atlantic, an attempt to discover the edge of the world, he chose Musa as his deputy. And when that voyage never returned, the empire mourned, but destiny had already written the next verse. At the age of 31, Musa Keita became Mansa Musa, king of kings, lord of the mines of Wangara, and the conqueror of Ganata. From the dust of exile rose the lion of Mali. His crown was not only gold, but burden and flame. Under Mansa Musa's reign, Mali blossomed like the first dawn after rain. From Gao to Walata, the empire expanded, vast as the horizon itself. Caravans laden with gold stretched for miles. The markets of Timbuktu overflowed with scholars, poets, traders, and travelers. The libraries grew thick with scrolls. The call to prayer echoed through domes and towers. Mali was not just rich, it was radiant. Yet even in prosperity, Musa felt an emptiness he could not name. He had built cities, conquered kings, and sat upon a throne that shimmered brighter than any star, but he felt a calling deeper than all earthly glory. It began in a dream. He saw a golden road stretching endlessly east, lined with spirits whispering in ancient tongues. At its end stood a light so brilliant it blinded him. When he awoke, he heard only one word in his heart: Mecca. That day, Mansa Musa vowed to undertake the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage, as no mortal king ever had. When he announced his journey, the court gasped. A pilgrimage for a king who ruled half the known world. But Musa's will was unshakable. He gathered an entourage of 60,000 men, warriors, scholars, servants, and griots. 12,000 slaves carried gold, each bearing a staff of pure metal. Hundreds of camels bore sacks of golden dust, enough to make the deserts shine. The caravan shimmered like a river of sunlight winding across the Sahara. When Mansa Musa walked, the sun bowed lower, and even the sand forgot its thirst. Across the endless sands they marched, through Taghaza's salt mines, through Tuwat and the dunes of the Maghreb. Everywhere he went, Musa gave freely: gold to the poor, gifts to the cities, donations to mosques and scholars. So much gold poured into the world that the value of the metal itself trembled. Egypt's markets collapsed under its weight, yet Mansa Musa smiled. To him, wealth was not treasure, it was testimony. In Cairo, he met Sultan al-Nasir Muhammad, a ruler famed for pride and power. The Sultan expected Mansa Musa to bow before him. Instead, Musa entered the hall radiant in his gold-threaded robes, his skin glowing under torchlight, his bearing calm and regal. When the Sultan asked why he did not kneel, Musa replied, I bow only to Allah, who crowns kings and humbles empires." The court fell silent, then the Sultan rose and embraced him. For that moment, two worlds met, not in conquest, but in respect. As the pilgrimage continued, so too did the whispers of temptation. The spirits of the desert had long slept beneath the dunes, but the river of gold had awakened them. On a night thick with wind, when the caravan rested near a hidden oasis, a jinn appeared before Mansa Musa. Her form shimmered like smoke and moonlight, her eyes two embers in the dark. "King of Mali," she whispered, "you have poured your gold upon the earth as if it was sand. Do you know what power you cast aside? I can give you a throne that reaches beyond the sun, if only you bend your heart to me." Musa stood firm, his hand upon his prayer beads. "Gold fades," he said, "but faith does not rust." The jinn smiled, vanishing with a hiss, leaving only the faint scent of burnt myrrh. But her words lingered in Musa's dreams. For even kings wrestle with shadows. When he finally reached Mecca, his soul trembled. Before the Kaaba, the richest man in the world removed his crown, his sandals, and his pride. He knelt among pilgrims dressed in rags and whispered, "All wealth is dust, only truth endures." Mansa Musa returned to Mali transformed. The man who had left as a conqueror came back a servant of destiny. But what awaited him was not the same kingdom he had left. Rival chiefs had grown bold in his absence, and the air smelled of betrayal. His cousin, Sumayoro, a proud warlord, had seized part of the empire, claiming Musa's generosity had weakened Mali. When Musa confronted him in the plains of Kangaba, the horizon seemed to burn with the tension of centuries. Sumayoro laughed, raising his spear. "You left with gold and prayers, cousin. I remain to rule men." Mansa Musa drew his blade slowly, the gold of his hilt glinting under the red sun. "You rule fear, I rule faith." The battle that followed was one the griots still sing of, shields ringing like thunder, dust rising like smoke, blood mixing with the gold dust of the soil. In the end, Sumayoro fell, and Musa raised his hands not in victory, but in prayer. He spared the rebel sons and ordered the wounded to be tended before himself. That day, the people of Mali saw not a king of gold, but a king of mercy. The years rolled on, and Mansa Musa built Mali into the jewel of Africa. Timbuktu became a beacon of knowledge, its libraries filled with thousands of manuscripts. The University of Sankore rose as a center of learning that drew scholars from faraway lands. The scent of ink and papyrus mixed with the rhythm of drums and the shimmer of trade. But even as his empire flourished, Musa grew quieter, humbler. He spent more time in prayer, gazing at the horizon where sky met sand. One evening, an old griot found him seated beside the Niger River, watching the sunset burn gold upon the water. "Great Mansa," said the griot softly, "you have conquered the earth. What remains for you?" Musa smiled faintly. "To conquer the self, my friend, that is the greater empire." The griot nodded and began to play his kora. The melody floated over the river as the last light of day turned the water into molten gold. Years later, when the Lion of Mali passed into the arms of the ancestors, the empire mourned not only a ruler, but a legend. The griots gathered in the royal court, torches flickering, drums beating slow and deep. One by one, they recited the tale of Mansa Musa, the man who carried gold like sand and returned with wisdom like fire. They said that when his soul crossed the desert of the afterlife, the spirits of the jinn bowed and the stars sang in his honor. And somewhere in the eternal dunes, it is said that a faint golden road still glows beneath the moonlight, stretching toward the horizon. A road of destiny, of faith, and of the man who made the world remember the name Mali. He was born in the shadow of kings, rose with the dawn of faith, and walked the path between heaven and earth. His name was Mansa Musa, the lion who taught gold to kneel.